Hi, I'm Marie Page. I'm co-founder of the Digitarati and the Digitarati Academy. We provide digital and social media marketing consultancy and training. I'm the resident Facebook aficionado. This is my Brighton SEO 2019 talk. I hope you enjoy having it as a video presentation rather than live if you weren't able to make it to Brighton SEO. I truly believe that Facebook groups can work in the commercial world. They're not just for community groups and for those with special interests. I'm going to explore all of that in this presentation. Now, I'd written my talk and I then came across an article that Michael Stelzner from Social Media Examiner had written. You can see the title here, Beware of Facebook Groups, Long Live Communities. He agrees with me basically. He might as well have stolen my talk. So it's good to be on similar territory to him. Facebook's a bit crap nowadays, isn't it? All those privacy scandals, a newsfeed that's full of ads no one wants to see. And it's seen as a bit crap both for users and for businesses. You can see some media reports here of how the media are feeling about it. In 2018, Facebook switched up the algorithm. It was an attempt to fix the newsfeed by promoting more posts from family and friends and demoting content from pages. Of course, this was also amidst the scandal that was the privacy situation. But it didn't really work. People are still not considering Facebook terribly positively, and organic reach for pages is falling. Average reach is around about 7%. I see plenty of pages where reach is much, much lower than that as well. And not only is reach falling, but engagement is falling as well. The median engagement rate for page posts is just 0.09%. To put that into some context, on Instagram, it's 1.6%. So what is Facebook doing to address its apparent death? Well, a number of things. With the newsfeed, it's continued to focus on person-to-person engagement, so engagement between friends and family rather than pages. There's been a push to Facebook stories, whether you like them or not, they're there. Much more emphasis on private messaging. Of course, Facebook actually owns WhatsApp as well as Facebook Messenger. And here's why we're interested, a push on building communities via groups. New mission statement put out a while ago was this: to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. Now that mission statement, to my mind, puts groups, which are so good at building community, at the heart of what Facebook is wanting to do. And in fact, that's what Zuckerberg has said. In his keynote address in F8 earlier this year, he said, groups are at the heart of the experience. So it's strange, isn't it, that so few commercial organisations, so few commercial pages have made that jump into groups. What is possible now for pages is that you can now finally link your page to a group, and you can link groups to groups. So some changes that we've seen in the last year or two for groups. You can join groups as a page as well. This is great for groups that need to protect the identity of admins. So they can post in a group as a page. This protects their identity, for instance, when dealing with vulnerable people, and can also be particularly useful for some brands that just want to speak as the brand voice rather than as individuals. It's not just me, though, that's woken up to Facebook groups. Groups are increasingly being recognised as rising stars by the marketing media. And there are some examples here from Marketing Land on an article that they've written on it. Groups are a way that brands can still get in front of their audiences beyond paid social campaigns. We'll have a look at a few examples in a moment, but for now, let's consider what other benefits groups do have. So first of all, they have such better reach than pages. We've talked about how poor page reach is already. It's tricky to measure proper reach of groups, but based on the metrics that I've got, I'm seeing top performing posts getting reach of up to 50%. And you'll never get anything like that in a page nowadays unless you're paying for reach or the content is super viral. By the way, I use the active members metric in order to get that reach figure. Engagement is also through the roof in comparison to the equivalent page. The newsfeed algorithm, of course, loves engagements. So active engagement further pushes reach, and the engagement that groups get tends to be fairly conversational and peer-to-peer, which the algorithm also favours. Take a look at this example. This is a group with 3,000 odd members. Only one of the posts here is from an admin. And visibility of some of those posts is well over 50%. And you'll also see that engagement is much, much higher. You can see the number of comments, the number of reactions that have been, as well as the number of eyeballs on it. Facebook has a number of new tools for groups. There's a group admin tool, which streamlines and speeds up admin activities. Support groups, you can ask admins to post for you. That's perhaps if you want a little bit of confidentiality or anonymity. Job groups have a template for jobs. Gaming groups have a chat feature. And buy and sell groups have a question and order option for their members. More group tools that are directed specifically at brands are being introduced as well. So we've got mentoring for peer support, units for social learning, and also watch parties for groups as well. So if you run a group and you haven't explored those, they could be worth a look for you. There's also an ads pixel for groups coming out. This is going to help you understand how group members engage with websites. And you may well have noticed that Facebook has finally introduced page markup for posts on pages. So you've got H1, H2 bullets and numbering and that kind of thing. So to summarise, groups pack a lot more punch than pages. They help you beat the algorithm. They have higher engagement. Members can start conversations just like admins. It's one of the reasons that members really like groups. It's an even playing field for them. Groups feel more intimate, they fuel more conversations, and partly because of the engagement and partly because Facebook likes them, content from groups tends to last longer on newsfeed. But the big question really is, can groups work for commercial brands? I would say yes. It just requires a longer term view and something of a paradigm shift from what we've experienced before with pages. Groups enable a multi-person conversation that you're far less in control of. They won't work as interruptive marketing. The best groups are where members feel a sense of ownership and admins play a facilitation role rather than driving all of the content themselves. In a world where millions are spent on sponsorship, I simply don't understand why Facebook groups have not enjoyed more take-up by commercial brands. They could so easily be formed as sponsorship around a topic or an interest area that you have in common as the brand with the people that you're reaching in your group. I was approached by choir app developers Choir Player a few months ago to run their marketing for them. Their thinking when they first approached me was to increase the number of Facebook fans, build an email list, write articles, improve SEO, all the usual stuff that goes into launching a new brand. But what I've persuaded them to do is to allow me to build a Facebook group all about the joys and pitfalls of running a community choir. It's not conventional marketing, but it's going to be highly effective in raising awareness of the brand internationally in a context that perfectly suits the product without significant spend on advertising. So far then, so good. What's not to love about groups? Well, they appear to still be pretty hard to sell in at board level. So what other arguments can you put forward? Groups are a great place to grow a brand community. An example here is the HBO show Big Little Lies. This was the first big brand to use Facebook groups for promotion. Dana Flax, the director on the social and marketing team, said she found that a group was the right venue for people to interact. And you can see a couple of examples there. They've had lots and lots of members in that group, and all of that sort of obsession that you get from real fans of something happens within that group. Groups are a great place to help you connect with customers and also for you to connect customers or fans together with each other. Groups can provide a customer service option that takes the load off your own internal teams. They provide a sense of exclusiveness for members. Thrive Markets is an online grocery retailer selling organic and all natural products. Has a secret Facebook group where subscription members can share feedback on new products and also swap recipes. Thrive's head of merchandising says, "We hear from our members in our Facebook group loud and clear. If they don't like something, they'll tell us, and then we have to act on it." These examples are from the charity Veganuary. The role of the admins and moderators is that of a community manager here. They're not spending a lot of time creating or responding to content, they're just monitoring it really. The community does all of that themselves. So the 35,000 members that they have there answer each other's questions and provide support and even curate new content. Your community will share your passion for knowledge and will likely want more detail than you'd normally give on a simple Facebook post or web article. Your community will be driven by passion for your topic, and what you need to do is provide extra value and feed their thirst for knowledge and insight. So an example of this is the Instant Pot group. There's a global group and also a UK group. These groups include recipes, commonly asked questions. They're packed with advice on how to use your Instant Pot, both from Instant Pot themselves and also an army of dedicated fans. The goal of this group from the Washington Post is to allow reporters to connect with the newspaper's most dedicated readers, sharing information about how they do their work, where story ideas come from, and how the job of political reporting gets done. What they say is that we want to help you find some of our best political journalism and offer insight into how that all comes together. Another newspaper title, Manchester Evening News, has a group called Breaking News. Now, this appears to be a way for them to do better with the algorithm than a Facebook page will have done. They host an awful lot of different groups. They host 9 different groups, including one for fans of Coronation Street, as you can see here. So in groups, we find that customers will answer questions for you. They'll help you discover and address your customer pain points. If you know the business model canvas, you'll be familiar with the concept of customer pain points. And as a content marketer, of course, hosting a community where those pain points are raised with our solutions only a click away makes lots of marketing sense. Kajabi is an online content platform for entrepreneurs. We use it for our online video training. The official Kajabi group has 14,000 plus members. It's a great place for users of Kajabi to go for technical support and ideas. But the Kajabi team are also using the group to understand more about how the difficulties that customers have with their system, as well as providing a place again for peer-to-peer technical support. Groups can be a great testing ground for new ideas. The clothing brand The Gap has a Facebook group for a men's athletic brand called Hill City. The purpose of the programme is for the brand to gather direct feedback from people wearing its clothing, which it then incorporates into design and development processes. Where testers bounce ideas off each other, and Gap sees the group as a place to break some of the usual convention that exists around the Gap portfolio. It's also a great place for organisations to develop brand ambassadors, people that will go into bat for you, on social media, perhaps when you get into trouble, or perhaps just to reinforce some of the things that you're saying. They're great places for customers to advocate for you. We find in our groups that if someone kicks off, we very rarely actually need to do a lot ourselves because the community rally round and put the record straight. Groups are great places to build trust, empathy and loyalty amongst your potential customers and fans of your brands. Your sponsorship of the group, dedicated to a topic of relevance to your brand and bang on the interests of your members, will bring you and your brand kudos. You'll enjoy more brand awareness and more brand consideration when it comes to purchase. Grown and Flown is a website for parents of children aged 15 to 25. They're American. They sell a range of products suited to their age group. The founders say that the Life has a group of its own, with parents leading the conversations, which in turn informs them about the content that's going to work on their website. Engagement's huge. One post by a parent received more than 2,000 comments. Nowadays, you get to ask 3 questions when people apply to join the group. You can turn one of those questions into a request for an email address, and you can offer a freebie in return for that. You can also find out more about customers through screening questions and conversation threads. Peloton is a bike brand. Community managers lead conversations about favourite instructors, biking gear and fitness goals with plenty of user-generated content in their group. Peloton hosts it as a forum for Peloton members to connect and also get updates on new features and announcements. The worldwide group has over 180,000 members. Number of posts and engagements are just huge every day. It's been highlighted by Facebook as one of the most engaged standout groups amongst consumer brands. And finally, entrepreneurs are leading the way with Facebook groups as well. So I've just clipped you a few examples here. Kate Toon, an SEO expert, she's based in Australia, which a number of you may well have come across. Kimra Luna, another entrepreneur. Stu McLaren, another entrepreneur. The Screw the 9 to 5 community, another couple that are entrepreneurs. They are really maxing out groups as a way not only of driving sales for their products, but also groups to run their communities of their paid for subscribers. That's it from me about Facebook groups. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. If you'd like some freebies from the Digitarati, please go to freedigistuff.com, and there's a bunch of freebies to do with Facebook marketing there. Thanks very much for listening to my talk, and please post any questions or comments in the thread below.